got the volume a little quiet this time. Uh, because that stream I was talking about, wasn't sure when I was going to do it. It was going to be Friday or Saturday. Saturday seemed like it was going to compromise. Not really compromised, but just had some family stuff lined up. And hello and welcome, by the way. Got SHC Gay doing another stream. This stream is a little bit different. As I said, every 10 streams or so, I'm going to try to do something different. And I think some of this stuff is a little more lenient into what it is I want to do. But the fun thing about this stream is that's what it's all about. What is it that I want to do? Now, there's still one more section I gotta look for before I start, but I don't think it's in my laptop. So first thing is I have 3 screens, which is crazy. Definitely not used to that. What this one is. Oh, that's not it. Could just flat out be on this PC too. Now the real question is, do I remember what the document was called? I feel like it was just called Theo. Yep, there it is. Alright, so welcome back to the stream. Like I said, you got your boy SHC Gay doing something a little different today. And like I said, I got Streets of Rage in the background just because I can't really do a just chatting stream with an Xbox. Xboxes only can do so much before you're, running into limitations. But this one's not really about Streets of Rage so much as it's about goals. It's more of a conversation than anything. The first set of goals I'm going to put out is what I originally started off with, and this was like years ago, but I'm kind of interested to read it just because I want to see how it lines up with the goals I have now. Because if there's one thing I've learned about myself, is that a lot of my stuff from the past lines up with a lot of my stuff from the present. And I think for the first time, here, I'm actually going to stop that one. Try that one more time. But I think for the first time in a while, I just want to go through and reassess and make sure that I'm not repeating too much of the past. And if I am, I'm only doing the stuff that's beneficial for me. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to trying to achieve something in life, you definitely have to have goals. And what's it called? I've had a relatively significant switch up in terms of life, I would say. Like how I view things and the things that I like, the things that I don't like, and where I want to go. And I mean, big props to becoming a family man for sure. Because the Baby Theo thing that I wrote, I did not have a kid when I wrote that. The reason why I called it Baby Theo is because I wanted to make a list of goals. Basically, I had to do a hustle. You just figured out your dad or whatever, and you got 9 months to set this kid up for success. I'm going to read that off, and that's going to be the first thing I start with. And then after that, I'm going to kind of see what are some of the things I kept, what are some of the things I did, and then let's just see what this opens up for me. And I'm going to read that here soon. Beat a level, read a section, beat a level, you know what I mean? So then that way the stream's not super short. And it's easier to multitask if I'm, I guess, achieving goals within the game. But as people come in, I'm kind of curious, how's your night? We made it to Friday. It's finally over. At least the work week for me is over. Not sure for you guys. Because with every manager, there's somebody that has to stay. Not everyone gets the cool blessing of having the weekend off. But I will say one thing, weekends are typically the simpler shift. I guess it all depends on where you work though. Because if you're working at a place that has a lot of weekend business because of families and stuff, then you're going to be pretty busy. And it won't feel so relaxing. almost had a perfect score there. I was playing pretty well. With a little bit of cheating, of course. One thing I will say is that my day was pretty good. Pretty good day, honestly. Nothing too crazy, no complaints. Just tired, man. Hit that gym grind. Work was pretty decent. It was a little on the busier side, but the days where it's on the busier side, it doesn't feel busy. Kind of the days you want, you know what I mean? And this weekend, I'm supposed to be going to a fair. There is a Sonic the Hedgehog at this fair calling my name. And honestly, that's my main thing. There's also a PS5. If you're in Colorado looking for a PS5, I know where you can find one. Just gotta play a simple game and make one shot. But for whatever reason, the game is really simple until like you actually have to do it for something. The dude will sit there, he'll explain it to you, he'll show you how to make the shot, you'll make the shot, and then typically get 3 balls to make an actual shot, and you'll probably just miss all of them like I did. Otherwise I would have had Sonic by now. Kind of turn it into a collector of sorts. Once I start getting this camera thing set up, you'll kind of see that. It's a baby collection right now, but I just started collecting stuff like probably a couple months ago. Really new for me. I've never been a collector of anything. This is the dude that ended my survival run last time. Got this dude kissing my boots with a chair here. But yeah, what's it called? I got the fair going on Saturday. I'm also starting this like kind of a unique walk challenge where every weekend on a Saturday I'll get up really early in the morning. Well, really early for most people, just kind of decently early for me. I get up at 6 and I try to walk to an intersection and back, and I just keep doing that. And the goal is to get to the point where I walk to my parents' house. I don't know about walking back from there. That's a far-ass walk. But we'll try. If not, you know, I always got my girl. She can give me a ride home. That's kind of my plan. My initial plan. To just get that ride home. And then, what's it called? Sunday. Going back to the gym again. I have 2 gym days. It's Friday and Sunday, and 2 walk days. And that's gonna be Thursday and Saturday. Thursday, I typically walk with my son now, and we just do a couple laps around the neighborhood. It doesn't seem that bad, but I usually push him in this bike, and going uphill with that bike is intense. You never really realize how heavy someone is until you have to do most of the heavy lifting, you know? But yeah, I mean, for the most part, a lot of my weekend is like working out. Saturday is supposed to be like a get some writing day in. We'll see how that goes. Still trying to perfect my plan of like when it's time to write, like what do you do to kind of set that precedence, because that's the hardest part. You know, when you got a family, you don't want to cut them off, but at the same time, you gotta get the work done. And it's about trying to find that balance, which is really hard. After I beat this first level, we're going to go over the baby Theo thing that I have in front of me, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. I'm not sure what you're saying. I can't hear you over the head. What? No, I'm a streamer. I'm live broadcasting, so what's happening right now is happening in live time through a broadcast. Why, what's up? Oh, go ahead. I mean, there's no camera or anything. It's not what you're gonna be seeing. Ooh. Close to death. Not really aiming for any stars or anything, so I might as well bust her out here. Sick. Perfect. So the first thing we gotta move on to is the Baby Theo project. Like I said, having 3 screens is kind of trippy. I feel like a baby hacker. It's kind of sick. Let the music play, let the game rock. Let me read a little bit of this off, and then I can elaborate as I hit certain points, right? So, Baby Theo, a 9-month race is what the document starts off as. It says the point of this list of ideas is to stimulate myself, Joseph Tyson, simulate myself, Joseph Tyson, having to get ready to support a child of my own. How would you make money? What steps would you take to live your dream and establish revenue? How can you do this without killing yourself? This is a guide of what you believe you should do to successfully make it as a 9-month successful father. Let's begin with some basics. So it says the goal, and then it says the goal here is to start at the beginning of what you want to do for a good portion, if not the rest of your life. It's to get the ball rolling on projects you've been too scared to start on or too poor to even come close to starting. Life is short. Don't spend it not making it worthwhile. Very big words coming from past Joseph. Kind of wish I knew what exact day I started this document, but I don't remember. But I like it so far. And it says things you want to accomplish. Complete Staff Master script. Animate pilot. Start a podcast. Get an Instagram. Date. Stream at least once. Start 3 YouTube channels. Okay. Love. Play in 1 Gears of War tournament, which I've already done. I don't know why that's there. Open mic. Commentate. Begin to bring in revenue. Become a GM. So I got X's next to the stuff that I've done. Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things on this list. So complete Staff Master script. I've done that. I have not animated a pilot. Starting a podcast. I think this is kind of going in that direction, but I won't mark it because that's kind of cheating. I did create an Instagram. I didn't do anything with it. I did date. That's why I have a relationship right now. Stream at least once. Let's get it. Start at least 3 YouTube channels. I kind of wonder what that's about, but I have 1 YouTube channel, so we're getting closer. Love, I did do that. Play in at least 1 Gears of War tournament, which again, I don't understand why I wrote this because I've already done that, but I think what I was trying to say is that I should stream in be in a Gears tournament, like a Gears 5 tournament, and I did that too. I actually went to a Gears 5 tournament at the Microsoft store in Denver. Open mic, I've done that. Commentate, I've done that. Begin to bring in revenue. I have not done that. And the last one says become a general manager. And I've done that. So out of 13, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 13. So 5 things I need to do. I need to animate a pilot, start a podcast, start 3 YouTube channels, bring in revenue, and what is the other thing? Can I count? No, it's just 4 things. I have 4 things I gotta do. So far, so good. Some of this stuff is still en route to what I used to do in the past or what I wanted to do, right? What do you need to maintain to succeed? Okay. It says prayer. When you rise, when you sleep, before you go to write or work, which I have failed miserably at that. Self-discipline, which kind of aligns with the prayer thing. Not doing so hot. Balance, I'm getting better at that. And I'll tell you now, for people out there listening to this, whether it's a YouTube video or it's a stream, balance is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do. And I don't think you ever master it in just one swoop. And if you do, you have to hold on to that blessing. Because balance is a bear and a half. It's easy to get thrown off course. It's easy to start turning into a zombie. And it's easy to overwhelm yourself. You do not want to overwhelm yourself. Balance. Big one. Money handling. I'm somewhat better. And honestly, with money handling, I'd say there's a scale. I used to be at like a 40% back there. I'd say a 60. That's another hard one. That's with self-discipline, because you have to kind of stay within the regimen of what you said you were going to do. But you're your own boss, and it's really easy to trample over yourself. Depression, sad stuff, sad stuff, sad stuff. You know what I mean? Personal grooming, that's hard for me too, because I feel like once I start to stress, I start to let go of myself, and I don't like that. Review notes once a week. Another hard thing to do, and I need to do that. That's actually a really solid strategy. And I'm surprised that I don't review notes once a week, just because I do write often. But I think when I go into the next set of goals, that'll kind of show itself. So writing review notes once a week, that's a good one. Support system, I kind of sort of have that, but not as strong of a support system as I'd like. But I think that's where creating structure for the things that I do comes into play. And my structure is the height. Now, to say that I don't have support at all would be a complete lie. I definitely have support. I definitely have people looking out for me. I definitely have people rooting for me. Constant reminders. I just started getting into that, and I'm pretty sure I wrote this like 2017, 2018. But I'm getting better at like having constant reminders. I've tried several different strategies. I'm not sure if you guys have had like problems with stuff like this before, but I've tried making videos and like recording my voice. I've tried several different sticky notes everywhere. I've tried, having people tell me stuff, like, send them a random text message about stuff that you want them to remind you of. Yeah, I've tried a little bit of everything. I suppose I went to the next level. I really don't need to. I think after this part, I'll just stop. Sick. Relationships. And I need to get a lot better at that, establishing relationships with people and holding on to those people. I'm really, really big about having someone in my life and then just not caring enough to keep them around, or not caring enough to keep that relationship nurturing. Better diet. Can't believe I said that a long time ago. And, well, badass. And then the last one is dream, and dream big. And I'll get to that too, because that one's highly important. But that's what this document was. It's just a 2-page document called Baby Theo, a 9-month race. And that's what it was. And I thought these are the things that you would need the most to succeed. Now it's funny because Baby Theo's the name of the project, and I'm supposed to be having a kid, right? But in there's date, so halfway thought out in some aspects, but for the most part, I'd say some pretty solid stuff. Now what I'm about to say is, or the next section is a lot more detailed, if I had to say so myself. Just because this stuff is a little more precision based, and it's more of like what I want to do in a year, and then just kind of like how to accomplish it. And it's a rough draft of notes. I don't think all that stuff is bound to happen, but that's the point of dreaming. Like, you want to try to put it out there, because even if it happens in the moment, taking a day and a time or whatever, if you just keep manifesting stuff, it honestly does come around, good or bad, doesn't matter what it is. The more you talk about it and the more you mention it, the more it shows up, whether you want it to or not. So that's huge. But I think this is like a business regimen, is what it feels like. Oops. I don't want to throw the taser. But it feels more like a business regimen. It's a decent goal sheet, but it's so vague because it doesn't really show exactly what I'm trying to achieve, except for to make more money. And I think the only thing on there that's like instantly I'm making more money is the general manager thing. Which is why I think it's supposed to be on there in the first place. Is it was supposed to be like, well, if I become a GM, then money kind of comes my way. And then, stuff goes hand in hand. Like, being a GM, it's usually a good idea to have like a healthier diet, but it's only because there's so much stress that goes with your job. So if you're kind of treating your body like shit, eventually it comes back to haunt you, which I definitely did. And in a lot of ways, I don't blame myself, and I'm not like looking for an excuse or a way out, but at the same time, I, what's it called? 230% definitely did not treat my body with respect. And that's important, man. If you're out there listening, like I said, if you check out the YouTube video or whatever, huge thing. Definitely treat your body with respect. What else? Begin to bring in revenue is probably the trickiest one for me. Because, like, stuff like this feels impossible. Like, it feels impossible to bring in revenue doing what I'm doing right now. But the only reason why I say that is because this is a very huge gamble. You have to have a talent, you have to harness time and influence into that talent, or time and effort into that talent. And then you just have to not be afraid to express it. Because advertising the talent is huge. And consistency with something like this is huge, let me tell you. The reason why is because you're kind of an entertainer in a sense, right? Like, people are bored doing nothing, and they're just kind of watching what you're doing on the game, or what you're talking about, because they want background noise, or they want to be influenced by whatever it is you do. They're kind of inviting you into their home or into their workspace. So when you go on and you do something like this, you have to bring a certain type of energy, and you have to be consistent. Like, giving people something to constantly look forward to is huge. And giving them something reliable, like the whole, YouTube video once a week thing, that's huge. Because if you give them a YouTube video once a week, they know that, like, if they tune into your YouTube channel, that once a week, something's going to be there. They're going to have something to look forward to. It's going to be entertaining. Now, obviously, you're only human, so if you're going at this alone, you're going to have hiccups. But the more consistent you can remain, the better. And if you're not posting YouTube videos, you got to make yourself accessible somehow. And just like that beginning step for me is crazy, because it's just like, how do you get to the point where you're investing so much time into something like this and it's like beneficial to you, you know what I mean? But I think it's just like old school traditional work. You apply, you get the job, boom, and it's just straight streamlined. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no weird obligations. There's no cancellation of whatever, except for getting fired. I guess getting fired is the equivalence to getting canceled. It's straightforward, but the beauty of this is this grants you one of the greatest commodities you could ever have, and that's time. And some people don't see it like that, but like, once you start to build your own brand or whatever, how that obligation stuff works is really up to you. Obviously, the people who follow you are going to kind of have some say-so in it, just because support is based off of kind of the role model or whatever that you set up. But honestly, at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot more freedom to explore and do stuff that you've never done. And that's just the beauty of, like, doing something that's creative, or doing something that's like a podcast or something, And it sucks because, like, I definitely want to do something like this, and this is just like my job. I come on and tell you some stories. Shit's funny, shit's sad, or whatever it needs to be. Because I'm kind of a little bit of a mix of both. I'm a very serious person, but I also love to joke around. Because, life is serious and all, but, like, the only way to really understand the seriousness of life is to laugh at it. And once you realize that comedy is literally just, dark things, but with a slight twist of fate on it, or with a smile or whatever, then, I don't know, you should really start to realize that the best way to get through life is humor. So, I wear the two hand in hand. But, anyways, what I was saying is, I think that it's a big dream of mine to be able to it was a big dream of mine to just be able to do stuff like this, like, write staff masters and tell stories in places, or stream, or make YouTube videos. And then that's just how I live, And that's just like life. That's how I bring in the money. That's how I support, like, this hypothetical Theo kid, whoever he is. So, big props to that first list. If anything, it seems like the list of a dreamer. And I think that's exactly where I was in life. I just wanted, I knew I had more to offer. And I knew that that's so sad. I know that what I was doing wasn't getting it done. You know what I mean? I was depreciating myself. And I'm not the type to, like, toot my own horn, really. But I do have to give myself credit where credit is due. I'm definitely bigger than the tank I put myself in, and I definitely undercredit myself more often than not. But I think it's just because I don't like to be the guy that tries to take the spotlight or the limelight from anybody. Obviously, there's those moments where I joke, and people, especially people who work with me, know that I like to joke around a lot about being like good and being cocky and arrogant, but that's 250% not who I am. I'm very humble, I'm very laid back, I'm very much like, I'll let someone else take the driver's seat. And the only time that I really step up to the driver's seat is if I realize things are going wrong. So if I had to guess, that's where I was coming from with this list with Baby Theo. And I was starting to live by this project. I thought this was a good idea. That's why my tag was F&L Theo. The F and L is for final round. And what I was going to do is, I've talked about it on Twitter, but I was going to create my own little group. It's going to be called Final Round, but my friends on Xbox Live couldn't get behind it, and that was kind of like where the surge was supposed to start, was with them. And I was supposed to essentially try to create that brand name that I was talking about with like esports. Since esports has evolved past like the good old days of just make up a name and now you're in a clan, I thought this would be like the time to capitalize. Now my problem was, and my fear was, is that I don't really know how to capitalize. I kind of learned in hold on. Kind of learned in HLG by having 2 jobs. Man, is there a cat somewhere? Oh, my allergies are going crazy. But I learned at HLG because what I did is I had 2 jobs, right? And with the 2 jobs, I would take one job and I'd save all the money and put it towards HLG. And then I'd have the other job, and that was just like my regular money or whatever. And I'd save that money, would do whatever with that money. But the HLG fund was to support the players. And basically what we did, and what I started off with, is like the players funded the HLG fund first, and then we started to give back because they had to buy their own jerseys, which sucks. But I mean, there's like 8 of us, and the jerseys were like $90 each. So that was like the first fund, and then they had to give me an extra something just to kind of get like funds started for traveling. So then when we travel, it was like a team effort. But then I just kind of stopped having them do that, period. And then, yeah, I just had this second job, and I'd save the entire paycheck from the second job and just use that as the HLG fund, which I never told them. You know, we'd go to out-of-state tournaments, and it's like time to eat or whatever. I tell them they didn't have to worry about it. It's time to pitch in for gas. I tell them they didn't have to worry about it. And that was like the beginning of how to set up for it, is understanding that it's a self-investment. But I didn't know how to grow money from there. But the more I see stuff like streaming, the more I'm starting to understand that, like, I don't know, you carry on from what the players did and you try to brand a name from there. And same thing with yourself, like, you know, you can't let the players carry everything on their own. You got to find ways to have something that people can invest into. Because if they invest into the name, if they invest into the product that you're giving them, whatever that may be, that's how you grow your brand. And I can see why that's hard, because I mean, again, you have to create this brand from the figments of your imagination, and there's weird questions you have to ask yourself that I don't think a lot of people think about. Like, I think one huge question you have to ask yourself is, if I showed this to 1,000 people, can I get 1,000 people to follow me on this? Like, is there 1,000 people in this world that would find this enjoyable? Because if there's 1,000 people out there, there's a little glimpse of hope. Because if you can get 1,000 whatever, 1,000 number on whatever it is that you're doing, then, you know, it starts to become a visual that people can kind of get behind. And it makes it so you can make, what's the word I'm looking for? Viral. Start to make viral stuff, and you can make it consistent so it's not random. And yeah, that's what Final Round was supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of like the table talk for different games. It was supposed to be the clan or the crew or the whatever, the esports team that was supposed to be in a variety of games, and I wanted to be the head of that umbrella. And I think back then would have been a bad idea, because I was so gung-ho on being a player. It was really hard to be a player and a coach at the same time, because like anytime you wanted to pump the brakes to like slow down and show people the way, you kind of became envious or jealous, or your own thoughts got in your way. And so now you want to be the player again. So I learned a lot from that. And I mean, the question is, would I ever start a team like that again? Just based off of this information, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot to take on. And right now I feel like the biggest thing I want to do is write. That's the number one thing. And it's also the hardest thing for me. And it's just because it's about finding that time to sit down and just do it. And it's not really writing so much as it's like perfecting. Because I can write my ass off. Hell, when I wrote Staff Masters, which I'm pretty sure this was written after I started writing Staff Masters, or right before, either one. But when I wrote Staff Masters, that took me like 3 months to write 13 episodes. Happened very fast. Now with the 13 episodes, the thing that's not good is I didn't really edit it. I edited like the first 5 or whatever, but everything else, I would just write and then send to a friend. And if they had some critique, I would do like mild editing. Whereas now I do like deep dives and really, really ask myself centric questions and write notes on like how I'm going to find a way to find the answer to this, that, and the third, and make sure that it makes sense. Like editing is a lot deeper now than it was back then, where it was just like fixing a typo and someone mentioning only one part of your story that's off. So I kind of have to get a lot better at that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of this is somewhat where I was, or where I am right now. So let's look at the other document then. Because if that's like that, then what's this one that I've been writing that I'm kind of proud of? Now this one is more of like a roadmap, and this is a lot more specific and a lot less general. Because the other one was more general. It's just like, how do you make healthy life decisions, and what are some things you can do to get the ball rolling financially? What sucks and what I don't like is I just didn't take that advice and run off with it, because what's it called? If I had the 3 YouTube channels started up right now, here, let's go back to it. Let me look at some stuff that I think. If I had my personal grooming down and my money handling, my diet, I feel like I'd be a lot healthier and not in the condition that I am now. So that's big. I think starting a podcast would have been a good idea, because I've heard people recommend creative outlets for me often, just because of how weird I am. You know what I mean? And again, this is more for the people who understand who I am as a person. Like someone who doesn't really know me doesn't understand like how eccentric I can be, how goofy I can be, how off the wall I can be, and how creative I can be. But like, you know, they just see me for Gay, the dude that plays video games or whatever. The old dude that plays video games at that. But the people that really know me know that like I can do a lot more than just that. So seeing streaming and seeing podcasting and seeing YouTube for me, that's probably not a big thing for them. And if I would have started that like in 2017, 2018, I think I would have had a lot more stuff now, because in my mind, like the growth has to be gradual. That's why I haven't advertised to people who know me that I stream. I just advertise to like, you know, Twitter, because I'm trying to figure out how to use Twitter a little better. I'm kind of trash with Twitter, but what's it called? I don't think I've ever mastered Twitter, but you never know. But anyways, yeah, so stuff like that. If I would have did that, then right now that would have been a lot better. If I would have got to the point where I animated a pilot, I think almost all of this would be irrelevant, or it might be an aftermath. Like, you know, Staff Masters gets to the point where it's big, and then, you know, I do this just because it's like sharing my experiences through what I went through or whatever. But hell, even then, this could have powered and promoted Staff Masters a lot more, a lot sooner, a lot faster when I had the idea. The Gears of War tournament's kind of null and void. What else? I don't think I'd ever be able to master balance and self-discipline just like that, but focusing on paying attention to the notes, the constant reminders, the relationships, things like that would have probably been better for me. I don't know, there's a lot of good stuff here. A lot of good walkaways. I'll have to really focus on that more, or maybe print it off or something. The other one is this your plans thing or whatever. This one is the one I've been working on recently. This is like what I want to do in recent times, so this one's a little more imperative. And let me blow my nose. What is this allergy stuff? I'm starting to think I'm like allergic to this headset or something, because every time I'm on here, I always have like a stuffy nose, and I don't have it any other time of the day, just when I'm streaming. I notice at the desk, I clean the desk like once a week, and this controller still getting touched 3 times a week. I have to figure out where that dust is coming from. Anyways, so this one's more of a bigger breakdown of everything. It says your plans, or your plans, kind of like in the Springs. Only Springs players really understand what I'm talking about. First section says writing. It says continue to work towards editing during this last bit of competitions. July and August, which is actually a lie. It's July through September. And then once the pilots are submitted to the pilot competition, go back to editing the rest of your work. Get ready. You never know when life will hand you a chance to prove yourself. You'll need all your episodes in time. Maybe other competitions, I don't know. Try to work on ultra pilots, but don't force it. It's really far behind, so it makes more sense to work on the other 2 in a time crunch. I kind of jumbled my words in that last part, but I'm saying that with the competitions going on, I still got to work on the first 2 episodes before I start jumping into other stuff. And the rest of the episodes, what I mean is, I wrote the 13 episodes and I never really edited them. There's always some type of fear. There's always some type of mental block. There's always something in the way. And it's crazy how that happens, because in my head, and honestly, maybe to the person who's listening to this, like, this is huge. You're creating a world for people to live in, and big stories, and it's like this huge investment. Especially for me, because like Staff Masters is something I've had in my mind for a long time, and there's several different iterations of the same idea. Like when I first had the idea, I was like probably a sophomore in high school. No, actually, maybe the 8th grade, because I remember, it was like 7th or 8th grade. So I remember talking about Staff Masters to my friend Conrad. My friend Conrad was here for my 7th and 8th grade year. And honestly, that's where a lot of the video game stuff started, because with my friend Conrad, him and I were supposed to like try to make video games or whatever together, and take the world by storm, try to make consoles. We had pretty big ambitions going on. Clearly not enough guidance or understanding of like what we were saying or what we were trying to do. But one of my ideas, which was supposed to be a video game idea, was Staff Masters. So the way I came up with the idea is from playing with action figures after playing Street Fighter Alpha 3. And on Street Fighter Alpha 3, there's a mode where you could take on the Shadow Loop, but you could do like 2v1. Like you and a friend or you and a bot can fight like different members of the Shadow Loop, which is like Bison, Balrog, Vega. It's like, the Shadow Loop. Some people don't know who that is. But anyways, so there's this mode. And so I was playing with these action figures, kind of recreating the same thing, but what it was is there's this evil emperor named Emerald, and he was like this god conductor of fire or something along those lines. And I had all these friends, or all these like heroes or whatever, and they had elemental abilities, and they're supposed to fight against this foe. But the more I played with the toys, the more I started to like kind of add some like, or contextualize some like deeper stuff to it, like, the hero should have like a weapon. And my favorite weapon is the bow staff. So, I had these staffs or whatever, and I was like, well, where do the staffs come from? And at first it was supposed to be like, the staffs are like these spiritual entities that kind of float in the middle of nowhere, and they are supposed to like be given to the hands of these people, and these people, whoever the 2 staff masters are supposed to devote themselves to the staffs and figure out what it is the staff is trying to tell them. And there's just like all these different lineages of people who just ignore the calling of the staffs, and they end up dying for it. But yeah, the staffs would literally float midair, and it's like a spar with an invisible person. And if you can defeat the staff in that like one-on-one combat, then the staff was yours. What's it called? Yeah, and so like eventually two different people come along and they understand the calling of the staff. They listen to it. There's supposed to be like an inner voice, and some of that stuff stuck around because Staff of Wrath, Isaac, he still hears an inner voice just like he did in the old iterations, but the purpose of the inner voice is a lot different, and it's not just the staff. Well, then again, it wasn't just the staff back then, because back then there's the inner voice of the staff, and then there's basically like a demon trying to tell him to do the opposite, or basically trying to tear him down or provoke him to do something that he normally wouldn't do. But Troy and Isaac were still, well, Isaac was still very much his character, the heroic person, or the guy that's kind and calm, but his staff is like chaotic and not evil, but it's a hectic weapon, you know? It takes aggression. It really takes like finding your inner beast to use at maximum potential. And Isaac is just such a peaceful guy, so it's contradictory to like his character, which makes it interesting because, you know, like, you know, as this kind and humble dude, how do you get through this? I get to this shit. But Troy was like the super stoic dude, and in my head, Troy was like the true ultimate main character of this idea. And it was funny because the reason why Troy and Isaac primarily have the elemental abilities that they do, and I haven't let go of it, was to make sure that Isaac wasn't like this super overpowered character and Troy was just washed to the wayside, because Isaac had all the stuff that we kind of associate Wrath with. So I made sure to actually give Isaac elements that didn't seem like they're going to be very Wrath oriented. You know, because like the Wrath dude, you're kind of expecting him to blow fire. Or the Wrath dude, if there's a way to conduct electricity, he can do that because it's chaotic and can bring disarray. But I made sure not to do that, because the more I thought of it, the more I was just like, well, that means the Staff of Wrath is just clearly cooler. And the Staff of Healing kind of gets pushed to the wayside. But anyways, yeah, so Troy and Isaac were supposed to find the staffs, and Troy still kind of finds the same characters first. He still runs into Eric, Jade, and Venice, which back then her name was Sasha. And Isaac still knows Julie, runs into Domo, but there's another character named Falcon that he was supposed to run into. And I chose to save Falcon for a different situation, way further down in the scripts in a different season. Because I felt like having 8 characters, especially 3 of them with kind of the same stoic demeanor, was a little too much. It was overkill. And I already have 2 stoic characters, kind of different paths. One's more violent and aggressive, and one kind of comes to life when emotional stake is at hand. But, excuse me. Anyways, yeah, the origins of Staff Masters, everything was a lot different back then, and it was kind of cool to have the mystical staffs float and you fight them and then you become the wielder. And then, I mean, the world was a lot more mass and chaotic. Like, they do go to Earth first, just like they do in my Staff Masters that I have now. But back then, it was like there's a demon growing within the city and they couldn't figure out who it was. And once they do, it's supposed to be the King's son. The King's son turns into this gigantic tower of a beast, and that's how the champions were supposed to work. And that was like an evolving idea of like, what's the threat and how does it work? I knew that the main villain was going to be Emerald still, which I changed his name to Marvik, and I changed it back to Emerald, and then I incorporated the 2 names together as the one person, which I'll go over. But anyways, yeah, what's it called? So yeah, but I needed to figure out who the henchmen were as like they go through these different cities, and like what's the story behind that. And I like the idea of like playing the murder mystery and come to find out it's the person you least expect. But at the same time, back then, the son was kind of sus. And he just had that look and that feeling of there's something inhuman about him. But it was kind of cool because like that city of Earth was a lot more developed. It had tunnels, and that's where they get stopped, is in a tunnelway while heading into the city. This city of Earth and my Staff Masters is a lot more old school civilization, and they kind of hold on to the things that they know. And I like this city because I can see the entirety of it, which the last one is kind of your run-of-the-mill Earth city where it kind of like towers and layers, like a bunch of blocks. Because I feel like that's a lot of Earth cities. They make almost like a mountain ridge thing. The new Earth city is inside of a canyon. And it's got layers, but it's more like a crescent shape and less of like a pyramid, triangle, L-stack shape thing. So, I mean, that's pretty chill. But it's kind of funny because it's the same idea. Like, they're looking for the demon and he's hidden, and it ends up being the son of a king. But it ends up being the son of a king near the end because the demon can hop from host to host. Not because it was him originally and it was him the whole time. But it's kind of cool to see that, like, the parallels between the two ideas are about the same, and the uniqueness of that is that I came up with the idea in like 6th or 7th grade. I stopped thinking about it like in the 8th grade, then I started thinking about it in like 10th or 11th grade. I started thinking about it again, but every time I thought about it, I kind of add new elements, and it just played like a TV show in my head. The reason why I stopped thinking about it in the beginning is because I came up with all these ideas, and every night I would pace my parents' basement in circles thinking. And this would go on for like 2-3 hours or whatever, right? And I was thinking about these video games, and I thought I was going to be this video game creator. That's where my heart was going. That's where my mind was going. And I was a very prayerful person. And then one day when I'm walking to school, I got the message of no more games. Like, nah, this isn't going to be a video game thing. And that kind of destroyed me. And I just stopped thinking about Staff Masters. Then, I don't know, recently I was not recently, like 2017, playing games in my parents' basement, and something just kind of took me on an adventure, man. I started thinking about Troy again and just Staff Masters, because I was like, man, that was a sick idea, and I kind of wish it was real. And then I just thought about Troy running away from the police, and I let my mind go from there, and I created episode on episode for like 3 or 4 months just in my head, and I would be in this basement walking in circles thinking to myself how things would play out. And it's amazing how much of that I've retained. But right now that I had the dream and I wrote the first season, it's really just about harnessing how good it is and making it strong, and just abolishing fear, which is hard. It's really easy to like give up and say, oh yeah, because of fear I can't do it or whatever. So that's my goal, to abolish fear, is to work on these edits and try to make as many episodes to 100% completion in my mind as I can. So if something were to happen, the episodes are ready, and I'm not telling them like, oh, I only have one episode that I've fully perfected in my mind, because that would suck. Like, they're written, but man, I transcribed them before I knew anything about screenplay writing. Let me tell you, they're kind of ass. And they're not ass because the ideas are ass, so much as it's like, there's a way you're supposed to do screenplay writing, and I didn't follow any of those rules because I didn't really know what they were. There's that, and I had someone read the scripts, and they said it perfectly, where they said it feels more like a transcript to what the script is about to be versus like an actual script of what it is. And that advice actually helped a lot, because it does look like the scripts kind of lay out the foundation of what could happen, but they're not necessarily anything important. You know what I mean? So that's the goal for at least this time now until next year, is to make sure I perfect the scripts, mainly for the sake of the stuff that I know is coming, but also for the sake of stuff that I don't know. Because I think being ready for the unknown is the important thing. And I think it's the first thing I picked up from looking at these goals, because that's kind of what my Project Theo thing was securing, right? Is jumping into the unknown and what you have to do and how to be ready for it. So I'm going to try to merge the two now that I've said that out loud. So for writing, it's just that preparedness and having that mindset of like, at the end of the day, it's really going to be about this, that, and the third. This, that, and the third being like creating different shows, like different beginning, what's it called? What is it? Oh my gosh. Not prologues. Different pilots for different ideas and expanding while also making sure that my current ideas are like locked in. Because I'd hate to look like a liar to someone if they ask me like, oh, do you have anything? And I say yes. And I give them the dog shit that is my ideas right now. You know what I mean? And then the next thing I have on here is weight. It just says, lose weight, you fatty. Very aggressive. When you take breaks, go up and down the stairs for 10 reps. And that was referring to streaming. Push-ups and sit-ups are still a great stream idea for wins and water for losses. Gym on Friday after work and Sunday early morning. I'm thinking you work the treadmill for an hour and get them guns into action. Eat better, lower your proteins in the morning, or lower your portions in the morning. Rely on Jimmy John's in the afternoon. Work on eating unwitches, brother. Pack healthier snacks and plan to eat them with your unwitch. Get on your family about it too. Mainly Anastasia. And then, honestly, all that's pretty solid. Thought about that like 2 weeks ago. And, I mean, I'm not completing it 100%, and I was supposed to go to this doctor's appointment on Friday so he can kind of tell me what my diet is going to be, because yeah, my body's definitely out of whack, and that's what my body's been kind of trying to tell me. I can feel it, so it's about putting that back into focus. A little better as of late, but you know, never stop. You always want to try to strive for perfection. There's that, and you know, working out for a couple weeks or drinking a bunch of water for a couple weeks doesn't negate months or years of doing the wrong thing. At the end of the day, the real ideal body goal is to be the father figure you want to sleep with. And it's not to say I want to sleep around, but it's to say that, like, if I can get you fantasizing about me while you're looking at me, then I've done it. Or if I can get you to say something out of character and out of pocket while we're having a conversation, then I've done it. Treadmill goal is to burn 500 plus calories. Walk on 2.9 with 0.5 incline for 1 minute, 3.5 of 1 incline for 7 minutes, and 5.6 for 0.5 incline for 2 minutes. Do this for an hour. Increase the difficulty each month. And this actually does work out. I max it out at like, 505 calories. And me, I'm a very competitive person, so I keep inching the numbers up. Like I changed the 2.9 to a 3, 3.5 to a 3.6, and the 5.6 to a 5.8. This last time I went to the gym, but I think I'm straining my right calf, so I had to cut it short, which sucks. Do 5 sets of 10 in terms of curls. 50 pounds, try to move up by next month. And I mean, today I did it and it felt a lot easier. The first 2 times, first couple reps are usually pretty simple, and then you get to like rep number 3 and yeah, shit starts getting real fast. So no, that's good. And then I need shoulder and back workouts next. I've seen a couple machines that I'm interested in, and I'm going to start pursuing those. But the reason why I want to do that is you don't want to have like an imbalanced body. Like, I don't want to have ridiculously massive arms with shitty looking shoulders, no type of back muscle, because then my body's going to be super goofy looking. I mean, I'll clearly be in some type of shape, but whatever shape I'm in, you know, it's just going to look like a deformity or something. And then the other one says streaming. Make a donation button. Work on editing before you lose good info and stories. Keep the flow going. Get a capture card and learn what type of audio stuff you need down the road. Keep your game rotation so people know what to expect. Do special streams after achieving certain goals. This will keep you interesting. Don't forget that your streams can only get better if you have a cap card and can stream by PC. You can maximize your target audience. Maybe do a special stream for the day that you acquire the cap card. No, that's huge. One thing I did for streaming, what the heck? One thing I did for streaming's sake is I started watching coaches, and dude, I feel cheated. Honestly, what Smash coaching is right now is it feels like therapy for video games. But the coaches don't really play the game like that. They just kind of pay attention to like frame data and the mindset and studying stuff and shit from a distance, and then they just kind of coach you through what could be causing the block in your mind, and then trying to create something based off of that. And while that's cool and all, I don't know if the therapy is going to be like a great investment down the road. What the hell? A great investment down the road, 100%. And the only reason why I say that is because, well, no, hold on. I take that back. I say it's 50-50. I think the therapy coaching thing is cool because it does help people with their mindset. Because at the end of the day, the mind is the first thing that you kind of have to sharpen when you're like looking for advice. Because you have to be able to hear the advice and know how to put it into action. Because someone can give you advice, but if it's falling on deaf ears, or if it's stuff that you just can't comprehend because you're just not there mentally, then it just becomes a lot harder to achieve anything. But if it's, what's it called? If it's something that like you can mentally prepare yourself for and guide yourself into that direction, then it becomes a lot more achievable. So yeah, but my biggest thing is I just realized that a lot of the coaches just don't really play the game. They just, the Metafy lesson is literally someone comes and asks questions and they review VODs and just make like a document of notes and basically have a recording to go back to listen to what was being said. So if you have a question, your answer is probably there. And I can do that. I think in terms of coaching, my direction would be a little bit different. Or being a coaching, streaming, what the heck? My stuff closed. Being a coaching, streaming guy. Dude, this laptop is acting up. But I should have known that. It was stuck on the 4th of June for like a good hour before it finally like realized like, yo, that's not where we're at. The 4th of June was a long time ago, old man. Alright, cool. We're back. But I mean, I'm doing a special stream right now. This is just to kind of go over goals. And I mean, honestly, I'm kind of at the point where I'm ignoring Streets of Rage. So that's good. Mainly because the main thing to focus on is just to kind of go over what's going on with this stream. And I mean, soon, very soon in the future, very soon in the future, I'll have the capture card and I'll be able to do the stuff that I want to do. Because being able to show this on the screen would make a massive difference. Yeah, but having everything in line would make a massive difference. I have the microphone, so that's good. I have people that can help me with video and audio. And I think video I'm going to try to aim for on Monday with my cell phone, regardless of like if I have a capture card or not. Because when you're streaming on your Xbox, you can still use your phone as a camera and as a guide and as a stream setup tool. Now, I use my 2 monitors and I just use one monitor to pay attention to the stream and one monitor to play the game. But if I have my phone as a camera somewhere in the middle, then I'll have like video of myself, so that's good. And again, it's always good to try to put a couple extra steps. But the biggest thing is the capture card. But that's just because with like computer screen stuff, I can show that off and I don't have to always take the video game route. And when I do, I can stream games that I know I can't play on my Xbox. An example, Max Payne 3, which like I said, if I don't get anything soon, then I'll stream the Trek to Yumi, and I'm pretty sure that's going to happen just because, I mean, I'm basically done with Max Payne 2. If I can't beat that in 2 hours, brother, I'm trash. But, yeah, I think getting the capture card and understanding that and how to finish the rest of my my Twitch setup is huge. I'm glad that I'm starting to develop a couple of friends who are willing to help me and give me some advice, and I'm definitely going to abuse that. Because at the end of the day, once you have the equipment, then there's no reason to have a bunch of choppy shit. You know what I mean? So it's just about making the experience as good as I can. And I think so far with the streaming schedule I have, I'm pretty set. It's just about streaming more towards what I want to do and less of like what I'm limited to do. So doing something like this has severe limitations too. So I have to keep that in mind. But the future is bright. So the next part that I want to go over is, and this is big, I'll probably mention this at the school, and I'll probably play this portion of the video at the school. It's like at the hour 10-minute mark or whatever. But it's about setting up a goal of how you're supposed to approach something. So the school, it's important because, you know, they start back in August, and that's when we start practice or whatever, right? And so their goal is supposed to be like to go into SCAC and win. And last time it was really for me about going to SCAC and observing. And it was mainly because there's the year gap, and there's just so many random things and variables that were different from then and now. But this time around, I'm really focused about making sure that we secure first. And that's the drive, that's the focus, that's the aim. It's the only thing I care about, is getting the W and making these people into winners. I made them into good players, but I didn't turn them into winners. I made them into good players, but I did not turn them into winners. And I have a plan for that. And I think this plan is big for anybody who wants a plan on how to succeed. So the way I see it, for their SCAC thing, and even for me personally, there's a lot of different games who do like circuits, right? For fighting games. And I think it's important to note that most circuits typically have their resolution like near October, November, near the end of the year. So the way I think you should approach something like this as a competitor is, first you need like a couple months to kind of get your practice regimen going and kind of really secure yourself and what you're going to do. And then the second thing that you need is you need test regions and test tournaments that you go to, that you try to attend, and that you try to set goals for. After that, you want to try to start diving deeper into the pool and go for the stuff that actually matters. So for me, that's kind of like what my mindset is for the entirety of life. Let's kind of dive into these notes, and then let's dissect it, and that's basically the stream. So September through November, these 3 months are for discovery and polish and all that you do. So writing, edit. Get these transcribed scripts up to where they need to be. Get season 2 transcribed too, which is some big Bobby Ball shit that I am saying, but I like it. Maybe get them into the WGA. I think it's smart so you can have an open cover fly. Maybe just pilots and short stories though. So what the WGA is called the Writers Guild Association. And that association makes it so if you're in that group and you post a script or you send a script to somebody and you have recorded evidence that, you know, this is when you sent this script, if they steal something from it or they try to steal your idea, you can take them to court for that. You don't want to give away your stuff without the WGA seal of approval on it, because people rather, one, won't check it out at all, like professionals won't read it because they don't want to get caught up in any legality issues, or two, you don't want to have someone steal your stuff because there's no evidence to say that you came up with the idea first. So the WGA is developed and designed to show that this was your idea and you put your seal of approval on it. And Coverfly is a website where you can find competitions for writing, but it's also a site where you can put your work and make it rather accessible to the public or in queue for when you need it for a competition. So it's important to have stuff on Coverfly because it advertises itself. There's query letters, which is kind of like a random email from a random stranger, and you give like your log line of what your script is about and, you know, hope that they give it a read. And then there's Coverfly, which is basically like the social media for writers. So my Coverfly is kind of barren. I've only used it for competitions. I've had everything set to private because I haven't gone through the WGA for anything. It's like $50 a script. So I think once I start to go through the transcribed scripts and edit them, then I have to start getting them up to snuff with stuff like that. The reason why I call them transcribed scripts is because I knew what playwriting was, I just didn't know what screenplay writing was. A playwright is someone who writes stuff for like plays like theater, and then screenplay is a lot different. And so I wrote everything like a playwright, and I would sit there and try to time it in my head for like how long it was and make sure that I was, you know, accurate with making sure like nothing was going too far above or whatever in terms of time. And I was doing that in Microsoft Word, but now I'm writing in Final Draft, and I'm writing it more like it's meant for TV. So I have to take everything that I wrote in Microsoft Word and really alter it so it matches the TV standard. And I haven't done that I've transcribed all the scripts, but now I need to edit them. I say you need to go back to looking for artists around this time, or January or March. Having the right people in your art could set off your success too. Maybe even find people interested in helping you to do more with your work, which is big because if I can advertise a name for myself, then it would be easier to get people behind me. Or if I wanted to do a self-made project and I already have artists and editors and stuff like that who are interested in me, I have a list of people. One thing that I do want to do as a writer to try to get myself established is this thing called the Heroes of Everland. Everland is the name of the planet that the Staff Masters are from, and I just want to tell short stories with different characters who've been affected by the holy blessings and the evil demise of Everland. Holy blessings come from people known as Dominions, and what those blessings do is, what they do is they protect the world by giving certain people blessings, but they hide in the shadows. And then Athrokilians are the dark side. And these are people who kind of tamper with dark magic or do evil deeds in order to rather summon a demon or to kind of cheat life. Regardless of what they do summon a demon. And eventually they have to serve the purpose of what the demon wants in order to get the ultimate whatever that it is that they're looking for. So it's just different stories of different characters on each side of the battle. And I mean, it's fun. I'm collecting these little receipt rolls from work, and I'm just going to write it on there and turn those into little scrolls. So all my lore would basically be on these little receipt paper rolls. And that's kind of hype. But I mean, if I find the right artists and they want to collab and we do a couple images of like the characters and what they go through or whatever, maybe do an epic voiceover and just kind of throw it on social media, then, we could probably drum up something like that. And then don't be afraid to start looking for more stuff to start, new ideas, new scripts, and maybe do Shinobi, Control Staff Masters, future pilots. They need love. I agree. The more you expand and express with work, the more whatever you're working on initially, it can gain some love and it can gain a different perspective. So that's huge. What else did I write? So that was all for writing, and September through November would be the main focus of like editing, and that's huge. And the reason why that's huge for September through November is because if I grind out all those episodes within that time, the 13 episodes at least, and I start working on different projects, then I'll have something kind of generated for next year. And with the new projects, if I do anything like that, the minimum is to write 2 sentences a day on each script, or on a script, until the first episode is done. Minimum of 2 sentences. And the reason why I say 2 sentences is because it doesn't seem like it's that much and it doesn't seem like it's that bad. Now I could raise the number, but I'm not necessarily trying to like work so hard on creating new stuff so much as I'm trying to have new stuff happen while I'm editing. And if I hit a roadblock with editing, I have something I can still work on. But like I said, that's important. I know the writing competitions are happening next year, right? So a way to get ahead of the writing competitions for next year is to start this year on something. And September through November is my time to do that. So I'm still going to work on editing what I have until like August. And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to start working on stuff for the future. All right, streaming and gaming. I need to find new challenges and new competitive games. So far for the games I have: Apex Legends, Tekken 7, Smash. And then my new favorite, which I think I'm going to do, is Mortal Kombat. I've been checking out Mortal Kombat a lot, primarily for just like random story shit and being bored. And I kind of fuck with Mortal Kombat heavy, and I can't believe I never thought to play it or do anything with it in the past. So that's on my scope. Apex Legends just because I need a shooter. Tekken 7 because I'm good at it, and I think it'll take less work to be good at Tekken. Smash because I'm already playing it, but I have a weird disdain for Smash at the moment. It's not the game, it's the people. The people kind of get to me. And I mean, kind of the game, because I feel like there's not much being given in everything that you do with Smash. Like, you put a lot of effort in and you don't really receive anything for it. There's no outcome that's worthwhile. But so let's put them in challenges maybe. Try to get through Max Payne by September, or the Max Paynes by September. If not, play Trek to Yumi. Start GTA in this span. That or Gears. Way to stick around your favorite franchises. Might look for new game series to delve into though. We'll need to revisit this section. Challenges just might surround games that I'm already good at. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna play Mortal Kombat for the story, so I don't have to worry about challenges. And then I'm probably gonna have a stream for the multiplayer day where I play Smash and I do my practice routine. The extra stuff that I didn't add in, or I want to see if I added it in actually. Let's keep scrolling. Alright, so try to hit level 100 in survival in Streets of Rage 4. Implement your training regiment here, which is huge. And then try to have a cap card and start streaming from my PC. I want to hit level 100 Streets of Rage 4 so bad, and that'll be a huge part of my challenges. I'll still be doing TMNT, but we'll see. Streets of Rage 4 is kind of my big focus because I love Streets of Rage, and to know that like I passed 45 and I almost hit 50 is huge because I can keep going from there. I shouldn't stop. I want to implement my training regiment for whatever competitive game I'm going to do here. And the reason why, like I said earlier, is once you realize like there's like leagues and big tournaments and stuff going on, the first thing you got to do is set time aside to like get yourself prepared for the competition. What I've always done in the past is I've done my 3-month regiment while competing, but I've never done my 3-month regiment while not competing. And I want to try that. So some of my stream stuff is going to be very different. So Wednesdays, I think what I'll do is some days will be VOD review. Some days I'll have some people over here to play. Some days I'm just doing the practice routine and just kind of explaining like what the routine is. But the goal is to practice heavy with Smash for like 3 months and practice another game as well. And if I'm not practicing, I'm editing. So September through November, I'm going to be busy with busy work. And it's preparation because I'm trying to get ready for next year. And there's a reason for why there's only 3 months that I'm preparing for. I don't know if I'll be able to finish all the episodes as well as practice and train. I think it's a lot to ask for. But I do think I have a way to create some type of balance. So like nothing's getting left behind. Weekends is primarily, Saturday is primarily for half family, half editing. And then Sunday is usually like half cleanliness and half Ezekiel and me time. And then throughout the weekdays, it just really depends. Some stream days I might cut out too, because if I'm coaching at Colorado College, my stream is going to be a little bit different. It's going to get compromised by their schedule. And if I'm trying to practice or if I'm trying to edit, then I think the stream is the first thing I think to cut. Because if I cut the stream from time to time, then I have the time to be better. But that's the beauty of like if I have the capture card, because I can stream Smash and not run into any problems. So basically, right now, September through November is really huge setup time. And then we move on to coaching. Coaching says go in depth with the team at Colorado College. If I'm still there, well, with the deeper side of the game, spacing, punishing, character counterplay, and I should really say character matchup, but whatever. Counterplay matchup, all the same. I want to check that artist out. I'm gonna check that out. Anyways, so what's it called? Other players I would take interest in as they prove they are interested. Should make a more in-depth document for coaching so I can have it on my person. And I'll probably pay more attention to that and go back into my training regiment and then reestablish like the bigger side of things. Hopefully I can attract more people to coach as time goes by. Should make a dream list. Honestly, the beginning of money saving needs to happen here too. Okay, no, that's important too. And I do want to make a dream list, and I think I'll put the dream list out there. It's like these are the people I want to coach because I feel like I can do well with a high talent, and I feel like, especially if I have my own like org or whatever, I can do well at shaping players into better players, which is something that most organizations do not do. They might have inspirational talks from someone who pays big money to have the org to do what it does, but I don't think they have coaches that are severely devoted to like making more than just one bracket of gamers really good. And that's what I want to do. Big thing. December says rest, pray a good amount, spend time with family, still stream though. Just know you shouldn't be pressed for any deadlines or anything at this point. Write if you want to, but do words for words, which is a document that I have. Don't force things here. Love life, remember what it's all about. Aim for stream collabs. And I like that just because if I put on the grind for 3 months and then I take December as a detox where I don't have to worry about it as much, I can be focused for the next year. Because I think one big thing that I do really well is if I grind for too long and I keep the grind going as well as like trying to do everything like the competing and all that shit, you burn yourself out or you're stuck in a vortex of doing the same thing over and over again. But if you grind really hard and then you chill for a little bit and you come back and you grind really hard again, there's always a possibility that, I mean, there's not always a possibility, but that information finally gets to resonate within you. So then when you go back to play, it all comes back as fluid intuition instead of, or fluid and intuitive instead of like forced and too thoughtful. And then stream collabs, I'm pretty sure could happen around that time. Because if I have the capture card, it makes life a lot easier. January through March, it's a new year, and it's a new year to be sick as fuck. I hope to be at 200 or less in terms of weight loss, which is not too bad because I'm at 220 right now, and I'm starting to work out in July with the routine that I have. I just have to start implementing a diet and really working on cutting out the bullshit, which is going to be the hard part because eating is fun. Saving, I hope to be at least 1,000. Will be tough, holidays and all. I think I can pull that off. Start grinding the competitive game of choice. 3-month practice regimen. Study your scene. So on. Hope that it isn't Smash, but I believe it will be. If you do 2 games, one needs to sit on the back burner. So if there's a Mortal Kombat scene in Colorado and I'm playing Mortal Kombat, this is just an example, then I'll probably put Smash on the back burner for Mortal Kombat. But it depends on which game I like more. And it depends on like the accessibility of what I'm trying to do. Because like with Smash, there's tournaments everywhere, right? But if there's like Mortal Kombat and there's one tournament a month, I think what I would do is in my practices, I'd probably play more Mortal Kombat, but in terms of brackets, I'd play more Smash. And as the time gets closer, I think I would think of like, okay, you're entering brackets, but what brackets do you enter and what brackets are worthwhile for learning's sake? Because you don't have all the time in the world, but you need to implement as much as of like what you practiced on the people that matter the most. And on top of that, you need to, I mean, there should be some type of balance of like finding finances too. So going to like ESF on Fridays would be beneficial. But do I go every Friday? Probably not, because it costs a lot of money to go. So then there's got to be something in the springs I can do. And I don't think I need to go to every springs tournament, but I think I need to go to something. 1 for practice and 2 for profit and 3 for goals. Like my goal is if I were to compete again in January, is to win. Yeah, it's just to win. It's not to take second, not to take third, not to be top 3. It's just to be top 1. I used to be the king of the springs, and I think I could do it again. Now, know that competing in video games is kind of like my secondary thing. And the reason why I say that is because at the end of the day, I feel like I'm supposed to be a writer. So I'm going to pay attention to writing above video games. But if it's video games, I think I try hard for 1 year and then I leave it alone. Let's see. I said that my stream will shape up more towards the grind. Yep. I say keep the story time genre. The challenges might shape up more in the accuracy of my regiments. Encourage grind set with people more in the beginning. Start scooping out online and regional competition. Yep. Don't hone in so hard on one area. Don't gas the competitive grind. Don't gas on the competitive grind till mid-February, early March. I like that. With writing, keep on with editing and new ideas. Not a lot of pressure here to emphasize any heavy effort, but still need to keep your foot on the gas. 1 page a day minimum. Oh, well, I think that's for editing. No gym on Fridays, January through March. That's intense. Drills are the most important part of practice. I don't know. I put a part, but the most important part of practice here. Same with mock crew battles. Line up crews in December. Bring this up to the team captains doing crew battles in the beginning of March. Maybe do them for Fridays off campus. We'll have to ask many questions, and that's for Colorado College. Yeah. I told myself that January through March would be more devoted to video games and setting up for that, because if I can scope out competition and scope out like where big tournaments are happening within a region, and I maybe once a month go out of state or something like that, then that would be good practice for something bigger down the road. And that's the whole point, is you just have to see how good you are at the game. Because I mean, there's two different types of competitive stuff that you can do. There's a competitive thing where you kind of keep ramming your head into a wall and doing the same thing week in and week out. And then there's the competitive thing where you realize there's bigger fish to fry and that you need to go out into the bigger environment. And my mindset's more focused on the second one than the former. It's cool that I do weeklies, but playing against the same people consistently, and that's it. And it's not like a practice session, it's just like brackets over and over again. You just kind of get stuck in the ways of what those people are going to do. However, finding different ways to practice and then going to different areas and different people will bring the better out of you. So that's what I want to do. I mean, if you go to tournaments and you do it consistently, you got to just show up with a goal like, I want to be this, that, and the third. And I think if I go to tournaments consistently in the springs, it'd probably be in December when I'm supposed to be chilling. But that's just to kind of get an idea of what the competition looks like, especially during a slow time. So in this time, I'm not supposed to be focusing so hard on writing. It's just about video games and really igniting that flame. March through May, though, practices for me personally will be much different. They focus on what I need to work on, less of a routine, more competing, more out-of-state tournaments. So March through May, I'm really on the grind. Writing focus will increase 5 pages a day and shape up for competitive scripts, and I like that. Look for proofreads. Really break down your characters and world they live in. Question everything and see how it all holds up. Most important, are your scripts fun? Do they get you excited to read the next page? What about making the script? All really good points of emphasis. I'm excited for March through May. 5 pages a day? I'm a fucking nut. But we'll see. And then it's time to build Bibles and pitches, record videos, and really set up for some solid pitches. Be ready to be on the move for getting someone's attention. Building all the prices and putting them together is key. Drills. Get them drills rolling. I don't think I need to put up part after May, like June through August when I'm doing. I think June through August is going to be more like I play video games and I send out scripts to figure out what they're saying about my scripts, and I have to decipher, is it something worth editing or not? Because if I do that, that shows the entire year lapse of what it is that I want to do. And that's huge, and that's about it. I think there's some tools that I have to implement for how I'm going to pull this off. I want to do it while I have the job that I have, just because that's a big dick energy flex. Like, being a general manager is no easy task, but I was able to, still stream and still be able to coach and still be able to write and still be able to do all this stuff, all while working a full-time job. If I can do that, and being a father, if I can do that, then you can do anything. And I think, again, big dick energy. If I have to lose the job, I'll have to reassess that along the way, because there's some important stuff I got to take care of, especially in the beginning of the year. And I don't think the wise thing to do is to kick the job to the curb. If anything, you got to kick one of your hobbies to the curb. And video games will always be the first thing I think to do. Like I said, I like streaming because I think it's a podcast thing. And yeah, some days we're going to cancel on streaming, but I think my game plan is to be a lot more thorough with like how I go about advertising streaming. But I don't want to do that until I have my full stream set up, because I think the bigger set of followers that I could have is on Facebook. And I have a plan for everything. I have a plan for everything to move it forward as time goes by. But that was my goals, man. That was the special stream. A little bit different. I love the Streets Rage music in the background. Put it at a lower volume, but still kicking in my ear. I mean, I know no one really was here to see it, but I'm proud of it. And it's something I'll probably look back on often. It's probably going to be hard to listen to because there's a lot of rambling. And one thing that I do want to say too, on top of all those goals and everything that I said, I also got a whiteboard, and every week I try to write down goals on that. So let me go over that real quick for this week, which is looking kind of rough. Let's see. Let me make a couple edits to it. Okay. So my list of goals: do a special stream, level 50 or survival of Streets of Rage 4, walk to old apartment and back, average of 3.8 on the treadmill, clean out car and flip car seat, beat Max Payne 2 on stream, finish stage 1 of edits on Staff Masters, and start stage 1 of edits of Staff Master Genesis, and then read. So I did the special stream, let's go. Level 50 on survival, I made it to level 45 and I died to the pipe, dude. I kind of want to go back and watch that. But at the same time, it's very depressing, very sad. Walk to the old apartment and back is what I'm supposed to do tomorrow. The old apartment is not very far away, but the point is to give myself hyped up for the goal to get there, you know what I mean? Average 3.8 on the treadmill. I did that today, even though my right calf was kind of bothering me. I still pulled it off, so we're good in that department. So you clean out the car and flip car seat. I'm supposed to be doing that on Sunday. Let's see how that goes. Beat Max Payne 2 on stream. I did not do that this week. I limited myself until the 24th. And honestly, I could have cheated and just played Max Payne 2 like right now, just so I could get it out of the way. But I'm an honorable man. I didn't pull off my goal. Finish stage 1 of edits for Staff Masters. I have until Sunday, and I don't think I'm going to make it. This edit phase is harder, but so far, it's the most perfected screen writing thing I can think of. It's still very much Staff Masters, but it's also helping answering questions that I've had for myself. But we'll see. I mean, you never know. With writing, it's hard because it's subjective. Hell, your script could be the shit to one person, and to somebody else it could be kind of just shit. But my goal is to get a higher score in these competitions. Right now, highest score I've had is like a 5.9. I want to get to a 6.5. If I can get to a 6.5 with the script, then I am extremely happy, and that is my goal. And every time I've made a goal for one of these scripts and entering a competition, I've succeeded in the goal. So there's no point in stopping now. I got 2 more competitions I can do. One is for animation and one is for pilot. I think I'm going to still try to enter both into animation, whether they're done or not. And then for pilot, I'm hoping to have those 2 done and have a third one on the way. But it's going to take steps. It's going to take some moments in time where, you know, the edits happen, and that's the hardest part. So it says finish stage 1 of edits for Staff Masters. I got until Sunday and start stage 1 of edits with Staff Masters Genesis. I haven't started that. I have until Sunday. The last one is read. And I mean, that one's simple. I just got to pick up a book and read. And I'm going to do that probably tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, that's the end of the special stream, man. I got these goals out. I got these the feelings out. I feel a lot better. Like I said, at the end of the day, whatever you do, you got to do it for yourself first. And this stream is for me. And me as the person who's supposed to be the viewer later, I'm very happy to like say everything out loud, because I want to be able to have time to assess what I want to do, you know, by just listening to it whenever I feel like listening to it, or reviewing it whenever I feel like reviewing it. I know I'm not going to read all the time, but I will listen. So this is how I'll do it. But this is a part of it. Thanks for being a part of the situation, a part of the life, whatever. And hopefully we'll see you guys next time.